Welcome back to another episode of Sip2Tally Films. I'm your host, Coach Evans, and today we're going to continue on our top 50 players of the 2023 season. We're doing number 22 through number 16, and we're going to dive right into it. Shout out to Big Red, shout out to Bazel, shout out to P. Brownie, what's good? Pretty Girl TLB, appreciate you for joining. Daniel Berry, thank you guys. Thank you. I appreciate all you guys for joining. But a special shout out to Cohair Multimedia. He sent me this graphic, and I'm gonna show you guys in a second. And it's Hyperthetics by Cohair Multimedia. And what it is it's a visual, and it has the attributes, and it says motivated like Ray Lewis, the awareness of Ed Reed, versatility like Kyle Hamilton, the elusiveness of Lamar Jackson, and you add all those together, the person would be 6'3", 228 pounds, around a 4'3", then has the Sip2Tally edition, and he gave me the Omega sign at the bottom. So shout out to Cohair Multimedia for this. I thank you. So this is the rendition of this. Put it back so you guys can see the whole thing. Them two lights shining on it. You may not see it that well, but shout out. And I'm going to take a picture and put it on my socials to let everybody see that. Nice, heavy. Well done, well put together. Shout out Cohair Media for the graphic. I appreciate it. Got the Raven sign up here. Got my logo. Got the Omega symbol down here. It says Sip2Tally edition at the bottom. Nice piece of work, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Humbled. Appreciate it. I got it in the mail a couple days ago, and I wanted to, say thank you on here first before I even sent him, to let him know I even picked it up. So thank you, and I'll get that out to you. I get that thank you on my socials ASAP. But let's dive right into what we're here for. Don't forget about the number 13 team coming up on the More Sip2Tally Power Rankings at 7. So that's in about 18 minutes. So let's dive right into it. Let's dive right into today. We're going to start at number 22. We're going to end at number 16. So our number 22 player for today. Let me get my stuff right. See if this button worked today. Yeah, it worked today. Our number 22 player for today, Sexy Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence is the guy that claws up the middle for the New York Giants. He is one of the best interior defensive linemen in the game right now. There's a huge hole to be filled with, like, the guy as far as an interior defensive lineman, with Aaron Donald leaving and retiring. Dexter Lawrence, 49 tackles. And Dexter Lawrence was a huge topic of discussion last week on Hard Knocks. Like, especially with them trying to maybe thinking about getting Brian Burns and whatnot in that discussion. So they may talk about him again tonight. But he had 49 tackles, 6 sacks, 65 pressures. And again, pressures are sacks, hurries, and QB hits. Because these numbers are coming from PFF. He had 35 defensive stops, and we talked about where defensive stops were last week. He was a second team All-Pro, and he made the Pro Bowl. So our number 22 player is Dexter Lawrence for the New York Giants. Now, his most impressive game last year was a Week 8 game versus the New York Giants. He had 15 total pressures. He had 10 hurries, 4 QB hits, and a sack versus the Jets. So that's that inner city rivalry, the New York Jets versus the New York Giants. But that was his best game to me so far last year. But blocking this dude, he commands double teams. He allows the linebackers to run free, and if you don't double him, he's probably going to create havoc on your offensive line. So number 22 is Sexy Dexter Lawrence from the New York Giants. Number 21, Fred Warner. Fred Warner is probably, if not the best, off-ball linebacker in the game. Cover, play the run, sideline to sideline. Dude, like, there's nothing bad. Like if I even want to nitpick something bad about Fred Warner's game, I couldn't find it. So if I went through his game with a fine-tooth comb, I couldn't find it. He's a motivator. I mean, he does it all for the linebacker position. Like I couldn't go find one little thing to say, hey, like he may not have a dread that's combed. That if I want to say something bad about Fred Warner, that's about it. But 159 tackles, 3 sacks, 4 interceptions, 56 defensive stops. He was a first-team All-Pro, and he made the Pro Bowl. And as far as his best game last year, let's take a look at it. I hate it, but I lost my place. Versus Tampa Bay. 10 tackles, a hurry, a sack, and 7 defensive stops versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Him and his running mate, they make up what some consider the best linebacker duo in the NFL. And the dude's awesome, man. There's no way around it. He's one of them dudes, man. He's one of them guys, and if he stays on the trajectory of what he is, he can go down as one of the greats in the game as far as being an off-ball linebacker. He's that guy, and like real recognized real, man. As much as I despise that team, he's one of the dudes, man. He's one of the guys. So let's go on to number 20. Now, I know it's a lot of glaze, but you got to respect, good football players, and he one of them. And everybody on this list is a good football player. As much as I dislike some of them because they play for different teams, real recognized real. This guy's another. George Kittle. George Kittle, to me this year, was the best tight end in the game. Reason being, and these are regular season numbers for George Kittle. 90 targets, 65 catches, 1,020 yards, 6 touchdowns, 72% catch percentage. He was a first-team All-Pro and a Pro Bowler. And the reason I put Kittle over Kelce is because of what Kittle does at the line of scrimmage also. Even I posted today so basically what I think Netflix did was they gave us the opening 3 or 4 minutes of the show Receiver that's going to debut tonight or tomorrow. And I reposted that on Twitter today. And so I think that's the opening, what they put out there. And there was a clip on that of George Kittle inline blocking a defensive end. And he basically pancaked the dude. And there's a lot of that in George Kittle's game. You don't see that in Kelce. And not to say that's a bad thing from Kelce. Kelce he's not that dude. And for that reason alone, because they can kind of give you the same thing catching the ball wise. That's why I think Kittle is better than Kelce at this stage in his career. Kittle's an extra offensive lineman and can go catch the ball with the best of them. At this point, I think Kittle's the best tight end in the game right now. Will he have a better career than Kelce? Who knows? But right now, I think Kittle's the number one guy in the game. That's what I think. As far as his standout game last year, for Kittle, let's see. Against Cincinnati, week 8, 9 catches, 149 yards. Big time player, make big time plays in big time games. He doubled back a week after that versus Jacksonville with 116 yards. Against Baltimore, week 16 against us, he had 126 yards. Most of that came off one big play though. But still, he show up when the lights are biggest. All right, let's go to the top 20. We're in the top 20 now. Let's go to number 19. This part of the show is brought to you by San Francisco 49ers. I promise you this is the last one for this week. This is the last guy for this week. Nick Bosa. Let me get Kittle off my screen. All right, Nick Bosa. We all know what Nick Bosa is, man. Nick Bosa is the better of the two Bosa brothers. Coming off that edge, he is a handful to deal with. We've seen what he can do to our tackles. We see what he does to lesser tackles in the NFC. If you don't have a stud right tackle or a really good right tackle, he will destroy, torture, and maim them all game long. As far as his stats from last year, 53 tackles, 95 pressures, people. 95 pressures. 14 of those are sacks. 38 defensive stops, and he made the Pro Bowl. That's 90. That means he got, so 14 of those are sacks. So the rest of those are either a quarterback hit or he speeding the quarterback up. Relentless pressure from Nick Bosa. So as much as I dislike this dude, I can't hate on him. I just can't. Because of what he do. And his best game, to me, even though they lost, was the Super Bowl. He had 12 total pressures in the Super Bowl. 12. Didn't get a sack because, Mahomes is hard to sack. Mahomes will move just enough so he won't get sacked. But 12 total pressures. 12. Here's what it is. All right, let's move up to number 18. 9 p.m. show tonight. I'm not sure about a 9 p.m. show. Oh, Hard Knocks, yeah. Hard Knocks it is. Yeah, Hard Knocks is a 9 p.m. show. If that's what you're talking about, Bazel. Yes, there's a 9 p.m. Hard Knocks. Not me. All right, let's move on to number 18. Number 18 on this list is a guy that I really, really, really like. Max Crosby. A guy that plays. Let's talk about edge guys for a minute. When you look at Bosa, both Bosas, Khalil Mack, any of your premier edge guys, most of them have a rotation. They'll play first and second down, play third down in that first series. Then somebody will come in, and then that person will play, maybe 2 or 3 downs, and they'll come back, and they have like a lit rotation going on. Like if they come out. This dude don't come out. He plays, if the drive is 15 plays, I guarantee you he playing 13, 14, if not all 15 of them. This dude motor don't stop. Constantly going, constantly being a nuisance. And I'm gonna, throw this back to last year on the Netflix special when it was about quarterback. How he would chase Pat Mahomes down just to touch him and be aggravating. Just to bump, just to shoulder bumping. Just to get on his nerves. Relentless pursuit, relentless pressure. He's just a nuisance. And that little stuff right there get on a quarterback nerve, get on an opponent's nerve, but it is right up his alley. 90 tackles, 94 pressures, 15 sacks, 58 defensive stops, second team All-Pro, and the Pro Bowl. Max Crosby. And if you don't know his story about him battling what he had to battle and then to come out on the other side of it and be this good at football again, look it up. I don't want to go into it, but he has a story behind his past. He fought through it, got better, and look where he at now, balling. As far as his best game, matter of fact, I don't even want to say about his best game yet. He is so good, and he commands so much attention that the guy on the other side of him, I think his name is Kuntz, had a sack in the last 8 games. I think Kuntz ended up with 9 sacks, but Max Crosby commanded so much attention that Kuntz was able to get off and get a sack in the last 8 games, which was part of the reason why the Raiders rallied around, their interim coach last year, who's now their new head coach, because they played so hard for him, and Max commanded so much attention that the role players started playing better. And so I did. But as far as, Max's best game, he had 2 sacks versus Minnesota, but that was without Justin Jefferson. So probably his best game versus the Chargers, but the Chargers suck too. So he just feasted on 2 bad teams. All right, let's go to number 17. Get Max off my screen. Now this is part of me being petty. It's Quen Williams. Normally I put pictures up here of guys by themselves, but I put this guy in the background on purpose. If you know, you know. But Quen Williams is a guy. Quen Williams, 62 tackles, 70 pressures from an interior. It's one thing to get pressure from the outside, but when you're getting pressure up the middle, that's different. That's a totally different space to get pressure, because when you're getting pressure from the outside, you're probably dealing with one guy. You're probably dealing with a tackle and maybe a chip from a running back, or maybe some help from a tight end. When you're coming from the inside, you potentially getting blocked from the tackle and guard, or the guard and center, or the guard center and help from the running back. So you got to fight through more to get pressure from the inside. And he still got 70 pressures coming from either the 3, the 1, or the 0. And this dude is y'all know. Y'all ain't even got to go into it. He has the power and the quickness to play whichever game you want to play. He can bull rush with the best of them. And then when you set for that bull rush, then he can outquick you. Or if you light on your feet and you ready for that quickness, he can run straight through you. This dude has all the tools to be the best interior lineman in the game. And then you look at this picture on the screen, he's a big dude, but that ain't fat. That's not fat. That's that's a guy. That's a guy. He's one of the dudes. But as far as, his best game last year, I would say his best game was against Washington. 7 total pressures. He had a sack that game also. And so that was his best game last year. Now, I will say this. A lot of his impact came from TFLs. But he would just get rid of his guy real quick and just make the tackle in the backfield. So he didn't have a boatload of tackles. A lot of his time, he would defeat his guy, and then the running back would just run away from him and somebody else would make the tackle. So his impact won't be even really felt in his numbers. It would be with him getting rid of his guy and the offense just running away from him and somebody else making the tackle. His impact is more so on tape. Kind of like some of the old linemen on this rankings, because you can't really get statistical numbers for O-linemen. You got to see what they do. Quentin is kind of in that, and some of these defensive tackles that are on here are in that also. But let's go to number 16. I think number 16 is our last guy for today. Mike Evans, my cousin. Just kidding. Mike Evans last year had 127 targets, 79 catches, 1,055 yards, 13 TDs. So Mike Evans has had 10 straight seasons of 1,000 yards. 10 straight seasons. So that's from his rookie year all the way to now. Every year Mike Evans has been in the league, 1,000 yards. That is extremely, extremely tough to do. Let me get this numbers up here real quick. All right. Extremely tough to do. He's been through good quarterbacks, Tom Brady. He's been through bad quarterbacks, Jameis Winston, Baker Mayfield. Whatever they've thrown at him as far as a quarterback in Tampa, 1,000 yards. He's been one of the most consistent guys in the NFL at the receiver position. And when he's had good quarterbacks, you've seen a better receiver. When he's had bad quarterbacks, he's made lemonade out of lemons. So I think Mike Evans is a lot better than we even give him credit for. Because he makes the most out of every situation. He'll complain. No matter what quarterback they give him, whatever they signed, he go make plays. As far as his best game last year, he had 171 yards versus the Bears in week 2. 171 yards and a TD on 6 catches. That's 28.5 yards per catch. Dude. And so if Baker, and the Baker, they lost their quarterback coach to Carolina, so I don't know how good Baker's going to be next year. But if Baker is better than he was last year, you can kind of probably see those same numbers again with Mike, because Mike's that guy. So let's recap real quick before we go over to the more Sip2Tally power rankings. 16 is Mike Evans. 17 is Quen Williams. And you can research that Deion Dawkins stuff in the background. That's me being petty. 18 is Mad Max Crosby. 19 is the run on the 49ers. Nick Bosa, I'm sorry. If I said Joey earlier, I meant Nick. 20, Kittle. 21, Fred Warner. And 22, Sexy Dexter. And again, thank you, Toy Media, for the gift. I appreciate it. All right. Anybody else want to send something related? The link or the address is in the bio, so you can do that. But again, I appreciate you guys for coming out. And we're going to go check out the number 13 team on the more Sip2Tally power rankings right about now. And I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. I appreciate it. Peace and love. Button work? Yeah, it do.